Greetings and welcome to episode 219 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Kate Alexander, and I'm joined this week by the distinct one, Mr. Daffin Mooney. Mr. Mooney has graduated from being the glorious one to the distinct one.
Hello.
Hello, do you want to tell people why me calling you the distinct one isn't like a burn? Because normally when I do these things, I'm just like slightly burning you.
Yeah. Normally you're sarcastic with a lot of sarcasm behind it, basically. No, obviously, if everyone in the UK knows, last week was the A-level results, or people who were in college got their results and
And
everything, and
it's
I
gone
finally got my
really well.
results. I don't mean this in a bad way, but it went brilliantly for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for the rest of the people. I hope they do get that sorted as soon as possible, though. Shout out to all of them who I'm sure deserve the better grade that they were given. But for me, I got a distinction, the highest grade I could get, and I was so happy. I'm really happy. Now going back for 2 more years, more college and everything, but yeah, I was sweating, especially with what's happened over the year and everything, because obviously schools were closed, my project was cancelled, and I had to potter on with the little bit of things I had left to do and everything. And I'm just like, oh my god, I want a distinction so bad, and I finally got it. I was so happy, so happy.
Sorry, Sylvian's really proud of you. Just putting them there.
Yeah, yeah. Bulbasaur was happy
Bulbasaur.
for me as well.
I
So was
mean,
he? Yeah, can't be
congrats.
good.
I said it on the stream, I said it privately, I said it multiple times, but congratulations. And the fact that you're
Thank
going
you.
to university for 2 more years is a comfort to me because that means I've got you on the podcast for at least another 2 years and I don't have to worry about it.
Oh no, it's not. My thing's not university. Mine's higher learning. It's basically something in the middle. Basically, I'm going back
Potato.
to the college what I was at.
College
Which
plus.
yeah, basically yeah.
It
I
just
do have
means
the
you.
option if I want to do 1 year at university after the 2 years, but that's not my aim. My aim is to hopefully find some, get my degree, and hopefully say, hey, get some connections. Say, yo, you want to hire me, please?
I've got two. Basically, what you're saying is I've got 2 years to convince you to do a year at university, so I can keep you for another year before you get a job as a video game developer, and I have to find another co-host.
I'll probably still be here. So
Depends where you go work. If you go work at Ubisoft, you might have some problems in that regard.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to talk about Ubisoft either. Yeah.
Just
I would have to let myself go for a bit. I would have to say, I can't speak here, ladies
I'm
and
gonna
gentlemen, anything like that. So
I'm gonna just go. But no, congratulations. Like your biggest achievement this week, you got a distinction at your course, which is fantastic. My biggest achievement this week was I bought some Ben and Jerry's ice cream. It's cookie dough flavor.
oh, can't beat a bit of cookie dough.
No, I didn't. I'm doing my bit, you see, because 2020, the year that keeps on giving, it's the year where like Ben and Jerry's get into an argument with like UK government ministers, and Ben and Jerry's are the ones in the right. Like Ben and Jerry's have the moral high ground over the government of Her Majesty's United Kingdom.
Not gonna lie, there's a lot of places that have the moral high ground above our government.
That's
So
true. But I bought
the
some
bar
cookie
was
dough.
never that. The high ground was never that high to get up on.
But I bought some cookie dough because I really like cookie dough, and I wanted some ice cream because it was warm. It's not warm anymore, but I wanted ice cream anyway. And I was like, yeah, fuck you, Prairie Patel. I'm gonna buy some Ben and Jerry's. And you know when you have those moments of just pure clarity, I was standing in the queue, and all I had in my hand was the ice cream, and I was just like contemplating all of the reasons that and like events that led to me buying this tub of cookie dough Ben and Jerry's ice cream, just thinking, wow, like
This is my life.
this is what life is now.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, like I did a fucking. I bought shoes a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I had to do like research to be like, okay, so which shoe companies have like terrible like human rights violations or like really bad like bigotry like running through them like and stuff like that. And it's like I'm buying a pair of trainers for like 20 quid, but it's like I gotta do the research because otherwise I'm wearing a thing on my feet with a logo where it's like, haha, you hate gay people, you know? It's just like, no,
That's understandable, yeah.
when did buying shoes become so complicated? Don't like it. I wish
You gotta
things
do what's
could be
right.
simple.
You
I
gotta
wish
do what's
things.
right, what's morally right for yourself. So,
Oh yeah, I wish things could just be simple. But as this podcast is going to prove, things aren't simple. Nothing is simple. Nothing is good. I tweeted out the image where I was just like, I'm putting the show notes together for our podcast, and this is me, and it's the GIF where the dog's sitting in the middle of the fire. It's just like, this is fine. Like this is fine.
this is fine.
Everything's
All
good.
fine.
It's all fine.
All fine here.
But as you
No
mentioned,
problems at all.
Queen of Sarcasm, everything was not fine because this is the Words About Gamescast, where every week we discuss what's going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days. And in this week's episode, we discuss Epic Games going to war with Apple in an antitrust lawsuit, Microsoft delaying Halo Infinite and confirming a November release window for the Series X, more stories about the terrible people at Ubisoft HR has been covering for years, and more, because that's not enough apparently. I didn't even put the MPD in, Moody. Like, I've delayed. Like, we do the MPD on time every month. It's happening next week now because it's just like, there's just so much. I was like, I can't fit in the bit about how game sales have happened, so we're doing that next week. Because people might notice. Maybe. The last comment I got on YouTube was, why is your voice so nasal? And I was just like, I want to hit you in the face with a chair. That's why. After we've done the news.
I've just got a picture of you grabbing a chair like a wrestler.
Just why is your voice so nasal? And then I just like calmly just nod, stand up, smooth out my skirt, and then just pick the fucking chair up and just smash him in the face with it. Like, that's why. And then just drop the chair on them. I mean, I say him. It's probably unfair of me to say him, but at the same time, it's probably like 90% certain that he said that. After we've done the news, we'll go over all the new game announcements, release dates, and delays that happened over the past week. We'll give you a content drop where we recommend some articles you should read and videos you should watch. We'll also tell you what games are coming out over the next 7 days before we play OpenCritic head-to-head, where we guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. And if there's time, we'll wrap the show up with a post-show discussion to chat about whatever's on our minds.
I've already got a story.
Speed of content drop, I was like, we need to make the content drop a little juicier, a little meatier. And then I was like, I know what I'll do. Yeah? You ready for this? It's a great idea. I'll drop all of the links. And mention all of the videos that I put out on Words About Games the previous week. And I thought, that's a banger. Like, I literally thought of myself in my own head, like, that's a banger of an idea, Emily. You should definitely do that. And then I went to youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk and I was like, I didn't put anything out except the podcast last week. I was too busy working on my Resident Evil 3 video and doing charity streams. I was like, I didn't make a fucking video.
So the best thing would be is to shout out our charity streams.
Yes, we will do that in the content drop. We'll do it now. Justgiving.com/wordsaboutgames Halo. If you want to check it out. We are raising money for Special Effect, an amazing charity that makes custom controllers for disabled people to be able to enjoy games and also uses technology productively. They help a lot of kids specifically, but also anyone who's disabled and needs help. We've been playing Halo. Our aim is to finish Halo, all of them, 1 to 5, by September 3rd, which we can do. I showed Moody the schedule, and he was like, sounds good. And I was like, just wait until we're halfway through it and you want to die. But
I wanted to die after the first one because it was so bad. So,
and I wanted you to die after the first one because
Amy might have been one of the reasons why I died a lot in that game, ladies and gentlemen. You can literally go and check her Twitter.
That was an accident. There's no way I could have done that on purpose. I didn't even see you coming. I'm good with a sticky grenade, but I'm not that good. Yeah, people were less than enthusiastic about the game, and I just kept having to remind everyone that it came out 19 years ago. And yeah, it's probably not as smooth as whatever the Modern Warfare. That was the last Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's gameplay mechanics wise, it hasn't aged the greatest. I don't deny that, but I respect the hell what they did with that remaster for it. The update is incredible. Going back, if you change it back to the old settings, it's scary as hell. Especially if you think about in those days, that was considered really good.
Those were amazing. Like when you step out of the drop pod on level 2 and you see Halo for the first time, it's like in 2001 when I was playing it, it was mind blowing. Like the graphics, how big the level was, and then you play it now, and like from your perspective of like obviously it's the first time you've played it, you're just like, well, where the fuck do I go here? It's fucking massive. There's no path. Fucking this way, and I'm just like, this was like a formative moment in my gaming history.
And I love that people love this franchise.
Moody's just going, I can't sprint. I'm just like,
why is there no sprint button?
And that was the argument for the rest of Halo 1.
I do love the pulse rifle though.
It is good. The assault rifle, because there is actually a gun, a pulse rifle, called pulse rifle.
Okay, it's the assault rifle.
It's the assault rifle, but it's the pulse rifle from Aliens. Anyway, we've picked up that enough. Go check out the link, justgiving.com/words about games Halo. We've still got Halo 2 to 5 to go, so plenty more Halo for Moody to enjoy.
Like I say here, listen, my Halo lock is amazing when we get to it.
Fantastic. It's going to be your favourite game.
I believe so.
It's definitely the most considered the best Halo of all of the Halos. There are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can watch this video in any order you want. You can skip past this argument about Halo to the Halo topic if you particularly want, because there's a Halo topic in the news. Or you can watch the entire.
May not be so happy about this Halo topic.
It's more just my reactions to people's hot takes is going to be my thing about Halo, because yeah, we'll get to it. We've got a lot to cover though, so we probably shouldn't have spent the first 15 minutes talking about bullshit. But hey,
serious face, boom, let's do this.
Speaking of bullshit, Apple faces a growing number of companies in open revolt over its control over the App Store. This is from Steve Kovac over at CNPC, and you can tell this is a serious story because I got it from a serious news source. The app makers are revolting, and Apple is their target. On Thursday, Epic Games, the video game giant behind Fortnite, challenged Apple by adding a new payment option to the game that circumvents Apple's 30% cut of sales it takes from developers through the App Store. But there was a twist. Epic apparently knew it would get kicked out of the App Store for blatantly violating Apple's rules. Hours after it made the change to its app, Apple pulled Fortnite. That sentence still blows me away. Apple pulled Fortnite. And shortly after that, Epic filed a prepared lawsuit against Apple, claiming it holds an unfair advantage by setting the rules for the only distribution channel for apps on the iPhone. It also launched an in-game event inside Fortnite, mocking Apple's power with a parody of Apple's iconic 1984 Mac commercial.
That was brilliant. It was so funny.
It was an epic, excuse the pun, troll against Apple, the biggest company in the world, as it flirts with a $2 trillion market cap. And it was the latest major tech company to revolt against Apple's App Store policies, hoping to latch onto the current anti-big tech sentiment and use this moment to put a stain on Apple's grip on the mobile app ecosystem. There's some stuff about other companies that are pissed off of Apple. We can just skip that. Back to gaming. Microsoft and Google, which have new video game streaming services, aren't allowed to put those apps on the App Store due to Apple's rules. Apple told Business Insider last week that's because it can't individually review each game that's offered on those streaming services after Microsoft disappointed fans by saying Apple wouldn't allow its new service on the iPhone. These aren't small companies. Like it mentions Spotify, Tile, a bunch of other big companies. These aren't small companies. Epic Games alone has a $17 billion private valuation and is backed by Chinese internet powerhouse Tencent, for example. They all have the lawyers, the money, and the anger to keep this fight dragging on as long as they want. On top of that, they can afford to lose a little business through the App Store, unlike smaller app makers who feel constrained by Apple's rules and don't want to risk retaliation by speaking out. Equally as important as the money are the user bases. Epic's Fortnite game has at least 350 million registered users playing billions of hours a month. Match Group has more than 10 million paying subscribers. That's part of what they were saying before. Across the dating app, on top of the tens of millions more who use their services for free, Microsoft and Google's video game services have the potential to turn video games into huge Netflix-like subscription businesses, and so on. Epic's brilliant move was to leverage that huge fan base against Apple's policies, painting it as the kind of evil corporate monolith it once stood up against. Hey kids, do you want to play Fortnite on your iPhone? Well, you can't. Blame Apple. I have a feeling this won't be the last company to take a stand like this. Take the short-term hit and hope Apple grants some sort of concession. There's one other piece of the puzzle. Google, which operates Google Play, the primary app store for Android devices, also removed Fortnite on Thursday. Google also takes a 30% cut of purchases through Google Play, but Google said users can still download Fortnite through other third-party app stores, which are allowed on Android devices. Android! Apple doesn't allow third parties to operate app stores on the iPhone. But app makers aren't targeting Google as aggressively, and instead focusing their attention on Apple. Even though Android dominates the smartphone operating system market, Apple brings in more sales through its App Store. In Epic's case, the company has generated over $43 million in sales through Apple's App Store in the last 30 days, according to data from research firm Sensor Tower provided to CNBC. It generated only a little more than $3 million in sales through Google Play in the same period. If you want to make money as an app developer, you have to start with Apple, and that means playing by Apple's rules, even if you disagree with them. But now those disagreements are spilling out into the public view from Apple's rivals that rely on the App Store. If this momentum keeps up, Apple will have to concede something to ease the tensions. This came out of fucking nowhere. And it was a whirlwind of 24 hours.
It was very funny because, like I say, this all was happening on Thursday, and then everyone was saying like, this Apple won't take Fortnite down from the store and like that. They won't do that. It's their biggest thing because it even says, yeah.
Apple are going to be pissed.
It even says
and they're going to fight, but they'll never take Fortnite off the iOS store.
24 hours later, Apple's took Fortnite off the store and everything. And this is last week we talked about the Microsoft thing and everything like that, and we both said it's very anti-consumer, but this is also a very Apple thing about it. This is how they are personally, and this is how, and it's been like that for a while. When it comes to them, it's their rules, it's their way or the highway, basically type of thing. And when it shows with the numbers alone, as irritating and anti-consumer it is, I can completely see why Apple are doing it and why they're saying "fuck you" and everything. And you're gonna do it our way or the highway and everything. It all depends. Apple probably know how big of a dent this is gonna actually hurt them. And if it's not as big as what everyone thinks it's gonna be or anything like that, they probably might be thinking, we're willing to take this hit just to fight for our way, our high ground compared to your high ground type of thing. And
yeah,
it's funny as hell to see that Epic is like, what? It's like two giant heavyweight boxers, and literally Apple, arguably most of the time the biggest heavyweight, punches this heavyweight down, and normally he knocks the buggers down. This time, this one got back up like Rocky Balboa and literally says, "Is that all you've got?" Boom, and punched back, basically.
Yo, Adrian, kabam!
Yeah.
No, it's
and wobbled Apple a bit, and it's funny.
I mean, it is always like, because we're going to be talking about this for a little bit more today, and a lot more over the next year or two.
Yeah.
Obviously on the podcast, it is worth remembering that Imran Khan put it best. He wrote an article for IGN. I saw him post some excerpts from it on Twitter where he said, "This is a billionaire slap fight," like, which I thought was a fantastic turn of phrase. Like, this is billionaires fighting over billions of pounds, but or dollars, I guess. But yeah, it was cool because like last week's discussion, we talked about xCloud not being allowed on Apple. I called out the bullshit reasoning, in a very calm and measured tone of voice. And
Oh
then
shit! People, she's not going to do that this time.
no, I'm not going to do that this time. No, this
Funny.
is actually going to be measured and calm because this is just funny. And it was funny where it was like because we all discussed it, we all talked about it, a bunch of podcasters, a bunch of gaming people, and we all just said it sucks. Apple's like probably in the wrong, even though they can do what they want on their iPhone or their iOS store. But like, it's not the right thing to do. But it's not like Microsoft not being able to put xCloud on iPhone like isn't going to make a dent in it. And then somewhere in the universe, like you just see this thing, Epic has logged on, like because like of any of the there's not many companies that have like a product on the iPhone or the iOS store that could make Apple potentially like have to reconsider their app store policies, and Fortnite is one of those things. It's one of the biggest games in the world. And they just came out and they just went, all right,
this is how crazy it is, though, because Microsoft, money-wise, could go truly toe-to-toe with Apple to fight even harder to get their thing on there if they wanted to. Because they have the money to go toe-to-toe with it. Epic, as billions and billions of revenue they bring their net worth, Microsoft, the bigger. And yet Epic, the smaller of the companies, have took the big hit, and they've swung back arguably with an even bigger hit against Apple. And that's what I think is so funny. Two big heavyweights.
Yeah.
And Apple pushed Microsoft aside, basically, like it or not. And Epic are just like, bring it on.
It's probably not the company so much as it is the product. Like, xCloud's not a big deal. It's just not. Microsoft is.
Yeah.
But xCloud and Game Pass aren't really a big deal. And Microsoft probably were disappointed, but probably weren't willing to take the legal fight on it when they can just focus on Android, right? Like on being there for Android and Google devices. Whereas like with Fortnite, it's like Fortnite is the bigger product than xCloud, and it can hurt Apple for Fortnite not to be on there because they're not getting their 30% cut either way now.
But also, I will say this. Because Epic are backed by Tencent, that also gives them help. That gives them extra help as well. So if they didn't have Tencent behind them, Epic probably wouldn't be doing this. They probably wouldn't have been fighting this.
In theory, we probably should have seen this coming because I remember the story we read about xCloud and Apple last week, and it ended with a quote from Tim Sweeney, who's the CEO of Epic Games, saying, "This is fucked up," and then like less than a week later, he's just like, "Yeah, Apple, come here."
I'm gonna slap you a bit.
It's like, oh, okay. Like when he said that quote about xCloud, because now that I'm really thinking about it, because the lawsuit was prepared and they had to have already made the 1984 parody. When he said those things in defense of xCloud, he must have already known that this was going to happen.
Definitely, yeah. He was already prepared. This thing was already shot. This was already filmed. This was already edited. Yeah. He already foresaw the future, and he was like,
just wait.
Okay, Apple. Okay, let's see what you got.
Okay,
and
so now
that's what he was.
Like,
yeah,
it's just like he gives the quote to whoever it was he gave the quote to, and then he hangs up the phone, and he just looks across, and there's this shadowy figure in his office, and he's just like, and the shadowy figure's just like, now, and then he just goes, now, and then it happens. Like, the only thing that's a bit iffy, like, because Epic Games isn't just standing up for themselves; they're standing up for everyone who makes things on the App Store. Because one of the main things they're going after with this antitrust lawsuit is the 30% cut, and we know how they feel about the big cuts. Like, it's why Epic's Game Store exists, because they wanted to make a store where developers got a fair cut, and we've argued about that for a year and a half now. and now they're just applying it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it sticks up, like, it's gonna make them a lot of money if they win, but it also sticks up for the little guy, which is something Epic kind of have been doing for the past couple of years, which is nice.
However this goes, Apple are going to come out a little bit worse. Either way, they're going to, if they win it, they're going to be made to look like the big corporate bully who's won this little thing, or but Epic, because of Epic's gallant effort to try and make it more better for people and companies, smaller guys and girls and everything, they've took the hit, but they've got more love and praise from people and more goodwill. If they win, that's even better. They're just like, yeah, they won for the little guys and girls and all like that. And screw you, Apple. Even though this won't really hurt Apple as much as what I think people think it's going to. It's going to be interesting.
It's good for developers because the split, like between say Epic's 12% and Apple and other places is 30%, is can literally be the line between an indie developer staying open or being forced to close. It can literally be the line between a game being successful and a game not being successful sometimes. The last thing I'll say about this before we move on, because we obviously got a lot to get through today, is the worst of it hasn't happened for Apple yet, because Fortnite is still currently available and playable on the iPhone and iPad. I looked into it, and it's not going to be disabled until the next update. So once Fortnite's next update hits, then it won't be playable on iDevices, and that's when you're going to get all the news stories of all the kids and their who can't play Fortnite and their parents who are mad at Apple. Like, that's when you're going to see the videos on whatever American news networks there are of kids crying because they can't play Fortnite because Apple.
Well, that happened when they blew up their island and changed it, didn't they? When they shut it down for like 2 days, Epic. People, the whole family said, why have they done this? And everything like that. And they got all the publicity. And yes, they took a little bit of a hit, Epic. But because they came back, arguably bigger and better for a lot of people, and just boom, and they were all over the place. They were trending everywhere, good or bad, and they had
people
the
watching
big
a live stream of a fucking
companies.
black hole.
Yeah, and they took up the whole thing. So yeah, it's funny.
Like, this could be really bad for Apple because Epic Games just go, they took us off the store. It's not. Hey, like, and that hasn't happened yet. So there's a whole other sort of PR sort of publicity angle to this where Apple could just start getting the shit kicked out of them on like news sites and stuff, or in the news, I guess, because this isn't going to be a GameSpot, Eurogamer, Kotaku joint. This is going to be like CNBC and fucking, I don't know what other ones are there. MSN? No, that's a chat thing. Fox News? Nobody cares about them. CNN, like
CNN,
those kind of
ABC, BBC,
like
Sky News, etc., etc.
The not real news sites, but the non-gaming news sites are going to pick this up and run the fuck away with it. Let's move on. We got a pair of Xbox stories. Yay. Microsoft delays Halo Infinite at 2021. This is from Tom Warren over at The Verge, who writes, Microsoft and 343 Industries are making the decision to delay the launch of Halo Infinite in 2021. 343 Industries says the delay is related to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, as employees have shifted to work from home and development of large games has been particularly difficult for many in the industry. Quote, we have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision, said Chris Lee, studio head for Halo Infinite. The decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including the ongoing COVID-related impacts affecting all of us this year. I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team at 343 Industries, who have remained committed to making a great game and finding solutions to development challenges. However, it is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship it this holiday, end quote. It's a decision that Microsoft's Xbox chief Phil Spencer did warn may happen earlier this year. Quote, I'd say the bigger unknown is probably the game production, just being honest, said Spencer in May. Game production is a large-scale entertainment activity now. You have hundreds of people coming together, building assets, working through creative, end quote. Still, Microsoft did push ahead and demo Halo Infinite during its Xbox Game Studios event just a few weeks ago. At the time, Microsoft and 343 Industries was still publicly committing to launching Halo Infinite alongside the new Xbox Series X console, which is now due to hit stores in November. We'll talk about that in a moment. Actually, no, I won't. I left that line in
Yeah, I
there
was gonna
specifically
say,
because it said it's coming in November. Yeah, the Xbox Series X is coming in November. Quel surprise. I don't think anybody was surprised when they said that. But Halo Infinite being delayed, I was like, I don't know if I was surprised that it happened. Well, I was surprised that they did it. You know, and it's like, wow, they actually did it. Because it felt like a game that needed a delay. Like when we saw it at the Game Studios thing a few weeks ago. But I didn't know if they were going to do it because it was coming out with the launch of the console. And then when I saw this news break, it was like, holy shit, they actually did it. Wow.
respect. Respect to them. I gave a lot. Phil Spencer, he's took this on the chin, and he knows he has. He obviously wanted this to launch. He knows this was the big IP for their console to be launching with in November and everything, and he's took the right thing to do, because if they probably could have got this out,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
then at the end of the year, if not the beginning of 2021, you've been having a Jason Snyder article of crunch about that game,
Of crunch, and the game
where you,
probably wouldn't have even been as good as it could have been, which would have been
yeah,
disastrous for Halo, who's
yeah,
off the back of a game that wasn't as good as it could have been.
yeah. So I love that they've done this. I'm really happy because, like I say, he's looking after his team. He's looking after the 343 Industries and everything like that. They're doing the right thing here, and
Yes.
like I say, massive respect towards them for that. And like a thing that you've said, but this is also brings up the thing that you said multiple times, Amy, is that COVID's going to hit more games than a lot of people, I think, actually are thinking it's going to have hit.
People
Um,
seem to be under the impression, like, and this is just a general people thing. This is like things I've seen online, people I've talked to about this kind of thing. People seem to be under the impression that we're past the worst of COVID in terms of the effect the lockdown has had on game development. And it's not, it's the opposite way around. Like, there's been a couple of people in the industry who have talked about this. The games that have come out this year that have been delayed by like a month or like a couple of months, like things like all from like The Last of Us all the way down, like most of the indie games that I've been following that have come out in 2020 have all come out like a month or two after they were supposed to. Like those
yeah,
games were nearly done, quote unquote. So like they were almost at the finish line. They just needed that little bit of extra push to get them there, right? So you can delay them by a couple of months, and then they'll be finished and they'll be ready to go. Like we saw that with Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, Iron Man VR. Damn a game, it probably got delayed in 2020. Um, but the games that were due towards the end of this year and into 2021, like those games, like it's exponential. So those games, like the longer those games are in development in lockdown, the longer it's going to take to make them. So
yeah,
when you start thinking about games that were due out in 2021, for example, like those games could even now be 2022. Like it's going to get worse. It's going to get so much worse. We saw it with a couple of games. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is delayed again into 2021. Like Halo Infinite, it could be another year. It could be October, November release. Like that's why Sony didn't give us any indication of when Horizon Forbidden West is coming out. That's why all of the other games that you saw that were Xbox Game Studio games at the game showcase, like Fable, Avowed, Everwild. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember the name.
yeah,
Everwild,
yeah,
the rare one. Like all of those games, Hellblade. That's why they didn't have any sort of release window to them, because whatever plans Microsoft and Sony and any publisher and any developer had about releasing games, like it's gone, it's done, it's out the window. Like who knows anymore? Like what's in 2021 is gonna be a really strange year, like more so than people are thinking. I think.
yeah. I think next year we could arguably get some of like normally when it comes to a new generation of consoles, the first 12 months aren't really that big.
Yeah.
It could be a very slow start for these consoles, but by say June time next year, we could be hitting some of their games they really wanted to drop
Yeah.
within the first 3 months
Quote
of
unquote
the
current
console.
generation games. Like
Yeah,
Dying Light 2, for example. Like that's obviously been
that ain't
impacted
coming out
by
this year at all.
that's
I'm
obviously
waiting
been
for them to
impacted
say
by a
that. Yeah.
lockdown. Like to the point where it's been delayed indefinitely. Like that game could
Mhm.
now drop sometime next year, like later on next year, like Vampire the
Yeah.
Masquerade Bloodlines 2. That game was supposed they were touting that game with smart delivery multiple times. That game was clearly
Yeah.
supposed to be out ahead of the Xbox Series X, and now it's not gonna be. Like there's like it's gonna feel a bit sparse, I think, once we get out of 2020 and we get past like the last games that were like supposed to, like Cyberpunk, stuff like that, if that even does come out in 2020. Like once we get past this last part of 2020, like 2021 could feel really weird, where it's like maybe there's not a really big game release for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden there might be two or three, and then it might go back to not being a release for like a couple of months. Just it's difficult to make games in lockdown. Like, and it will slow everything down for everyone.
That is the thing, yeah. Everything's all over the place right now. Like we've still got companies here who are still in lockdown, who haven't really gone back yet. There's companies in America who have not gone back to work yet at all. They're working from home and everything. There are other places that thankfully have not been hit by COVID that much and have been able to open. Um, that's maybe because of the government doing things right. Who knows? Questions. But yeah, like it's all over the place. We're gonna have delays all over the place, and it's gonna be very fascinating
Yeah, you're
for
not going to see one thing you are
for
not
this.
going to see at Gamescom, at the Game Awards, and maybe even next year, like E3, Summer of Gaming, whatever the hell that looks like in next year. You're not going to see very many release dates announced for
I agree with
anything
that.
like over the course of the next 12 months, because no
Yeah.
one can commit to anything. And it's totally
Okay.
fine. It's totally fair. Um, but you might not see very many games either. Um, or like
So
games you
here's
would
a
be expecting.
yeah. So here's a question: Is what do you think now for the release for this? Do you think they push this all the way up till next fall?
I think they will. I don't think they're gonna want to drop a Halo game anytime other than close to Christmas, like in the run up to Christmas. You know, that sort of October, November time that we always associate with holiday 2020.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real blessing in disguise, because I think it gives them a lot of time to polish this game up and make it the best thing it could possibly be. Like,
And arguably get back into the studio as well, because they all want to be
yeah,
back in the studio.
yeah, like the graphics don't look great. I never like whatever. Like it doesn't look great in screenshots, mate. Like no one was complaining about it in motion until people saw that Craig, like this still image of Craig. Like it looked fine in motion, but like yeah, it's like they can really like punch up the multiplayer. They can really punch up the single player. They can really make this a very special game. Like the world used to stop for Halo. Like way back in the day when Halo 2 and Halo 3 were coming out, like that was all anyone talked about. That was all what it was. It didn't matter what anyone else was doing. At that particular moment, Halo 2 was coming out, fucking it was all about Halo 2. Now that's not the case. Like Halo Infinite coming out was a big deal, but it wasn't like the big deal. And it still won't be, but it would be cool if like Halo Infinite came out next fall and it was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like Halo's back. Like that's where I could see one of the review headlines being like Halo's back.
And that's what we want to hear. That's the thing about it. Like like throughout all our stream and everything like that, I was taking the mick out of it and everything, but it was just for a little playful fun and everything. But even I know that like the first three Halos were legendary for Xbox users, even though I wasn't much of an Xbox player when I was first growing up and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Uh,
Like they did things like they weren't just important video games in and of themselves. They weren't just important video games in and of themselves for Xbox. Like they were just important for the games industry, like because of the things
yeah.
that they did. Like Halo
Mhm.
2 invented console based multiplayer in a way that is standard now, like Halo 2 had to invent that shit because it more or less didn't exist when the game came out because it was one of
Yeah.
the first major online multiplayer games. Like so, like matchmaking and parties and lobby systems and stuff. They had to build that,
Yeah.
and it's still the same system that other developers in 2020 sometimes fuck up and don't do right. And they did it in 2004.
Yeah, it's going to be very fascinating. I'm rooting for them. I really want to. I really was hoping for this game because I was really wanting to play it and give it a good go, like with you and everything. Because, like I say, you and me, I'm smashing through the games right now.
Yeah.
Fair, but again, go back to them. Respect. It's the right thing to do. They don't want to overdo it with the with the staff or anything like that, and they're doing the right thing. Hopefully, it's not till fall. I can understand why they would want to keep it till wait until fall. Gives them a whole year and everything like that. But if it's not that far, if it's actually not that far, but they want to give them more time, truly proper time, and maybe drop it April time, maybe before the Q quarter, maybe some March, maybe if they wanted to. But yeah, good luck to them, and
And
I
it's
hope I'm rooting for
available
them.
now.
Oh my
Yeah,
god! Oh hi.
I have seen
So
some
what?
takes
Go on.
online.
Yeah, you've got some takes on this. I
Like,
want to
did
hear
you have
this.
anything else you wanted to say before I rant?
I was just going to say about the presumable real, obviously November, but there's obviously the pictures out there and everything about saying boxes saying do not open until the 6th or put on or what until the 6th of November, and everyone's thinking, is this the release date for Xbox
Oh,
Series X, the 6th of November?
I don't know. Like, it might be, it might not be. Like, at this point, they've narrowed it down
Mm.
to the point where it's like, we're gonna find out in like
Soon.
what 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna
No,
happen at
apparently that
games.
thing's been pushed till September.
All right, so we're gonna find out
Apart-
in like in a few weeks anyway. So
yeah. Yeah. So
I'm not really that
either
fussed.
way,
Like, I'm not really that. It's like price now. Like, I've said everything I need to say about prices of these consoles. Like, and until they tell me what the price is, I've got nothing left to say. And it's like with it's the same with the release dates where it's like, cool, if it comes out, it might come out on November 6th. I saw all the things and it seems reasonable. And while we're at it, instead of reading this full next news story,
yeah, because you don't need to.
like we might as well just attach it on here before I say what I want to say about some stuff I've seen on the internet. Like there was a controller box that's been leaked where it said the controller was the Xbox One controller. Sorry, the Xbox controller was compatible with the Xbox Series X/S, which kind of it's been verified by places like GameSpot as being authentic. Like the box itself. Is anyone surprised? Like we've all been. This isn't a secret. Like this is like Fable levels of secret, where it's like we know this exists. We're just waiting for them to tell us it exists.
Yeah, and the name isn't a surprise either. I think after you heard Xbox S, Xbox X, they were good. The smaller, less powerful SKU was going to be the Xbox
The
Series
Series
X.
S, because the One S
Yeah,
was it's like it's again, it's like the price and the release date. It's like I don't have anything left to say about the Xbox Series S, although and I can't wait to see it whenever their big event is for their consoles.
yeah.
And I look forward to seeing what they show me. But right now, it's like no new information. Basically.
So how you've got some things to say on
Yeah,
this?
so I've seen some stuff because I've had a
Hot
lot of
take.
time. I've had a lot of time to process this Halo Infinite news. My initial reaction was it sucks, but hey, you know what? How the famous saying was, a delayed game will eventually be good. A rushed game will be bad forever. Unless I guess you're a live service game, but that's we're not getting into that. Yeah, I've seen some people say some stuff about Halo and Xbox, and I just needed to get some stuff off my chest. Like this isn't aimed at one particular person. Like multiple people have had these takes. I've written 3 of them down that I want to reply to and get your thoughts on as well. Like, and it tires me out, man. Like, and the first one's a quick one where it's like I've seen a bunch of people say some variation of, well, Halo was the one thing that I was gonna get an Xbox Series X for. To which I reply to that, specific. I guess this is kind of specifically targeting a few different people I've seen say this, because my reply to that would be, you don't even like Halo. Like, I've seen people say this specific thing or a variation of this specific thing who have literally said, I don't care about Halo. So suddenly, like, you care enough about Halo? Like,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to know, because I fucking love talking about Halo. Like, Moody's just streamed 6 hours of Halo with me on Twitch. He knows. I fucking love talking about Halo. And, like, it comes across as so disingenuous, where it's like, just own the fact that you don't really like Halo, and just say it in, like, if your point is, well, this is bad for the Xbox Series X because now they don't have Halo, but don't word it as, well, this was the one thing I was getting an Xbox for, because you weren't. Because you don't like Halo. That was just the thing that was going to be there when you got the Xbox. And it pissed me off a little bit.
Oh, said this for a while, and I do honestly mean this, and this is not a slight at any. This is just a smite at the entire people of the planet, including me and Amy. Every single person on this planet is a hypocrite in some sort of way, ladies and gentlemen. We've all been a hypocrite in some sort of way. So don't worry about that. Just own it. Just absolutely own it. Just don't be ashamed of it. Just say, I know I'm being a hypocrite here, but this is the reason. I admit I've been a hypocrite. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right here. Yada yada yada. Just own it. Yeah, saying stupid things like that. That is just like, oh, for God's sake, just be honest.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just say it. Like, if the shoe was on the other foot and this was Fable, right? Like, you wouldn't have seen me going, well, that was the one thing I was getting an Xbox for, because, folks, I don't give a shit about Fable. I never have. Like, Fable 2 was pretty good. I kind of enjoyed it. It's not a system seller for me. And if this had been Fable, the news had been Fable, I would have been like, well, that sucks for Xbox, but not for me, because I don't care. Like, Halo being delayed, I do care about. Moody knows how deeply I care about Halo. As a franchise, like, I love that. That's one of my favorite franchises in video games. And that's probably why it got under my skin a bit, seeing this particular take fly around from people who I know don't like it, because they've said it in the past. The second one is another quickie. Xbox haven't shown us any reasons to buy the Series X, and I see this one flying around, and I'm just sitting here thinking, but I thought we were all on the same page of what this summer was. They haven't had their console-focused reveal yet. Like, not reveal, because obviously we've seen the Xbox Series X, but you get what I mean. Yeah. Like, they were doing a show specifically for the console. It hasn't happened yet. So when people say they haven't given us any reasons to buy the Xbox Series X, like, yeah, no shit, the show hasn't happened yet. Am I on the same planet as you right now?
Yeah, that take is... I understand it a little bit, because... they don't seem like they're selling you on that console right now, but they're changing their marketing, they're changing their ways. Like we've said on multiple tiers, PlayStation, they believe in generations. They're doing their thing because that's what they believe in. Microsoft are doing a completely different thing. They're kind of in a way trying to be like Epic, more user friendly, more customer friendly, being more friendly to the customers, giving you the choice of where you want to play. So, yes, I see you're taking it at the same time, but I see they're taking it at the same time, and all that.
Like, well, now that you've said it, it's like, I guess I can see it.
Because they aren't selling your Game Pass.
It's like, they haven't, because they've done the Game Pass thing, and they've done the games thing. They just haven't done the console thing, but they're going to do it. Like, we know they're going to do it. We've known since May that they're going to do it in a separate thing. We're just waiting for that thing. So when it's like, they haven't sold us it. They haven't sold you it yet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. Like, Game Pass is a big deal, and that's the thing they're focusing on. But they absolutely want you to buy the Xbox Series X, because otherwise they wouldn't be making it.
Yeah.
The final take I've seen everywhere is it's kind of like the second statement, but just like more definitive, where a lot of people are just looking and going, like, it's the take of, well, there's no reason to buy a Series X because now there's no Halo, or Like, I can play all my games on an Xbox One or on my phone if I'm so predisposed to do it. So there's no reason to buy an Xbox. Folks, let me tell you something about console generations. Launch lineups suck. They always have, and they always will. Name 5 PlayStation 4 exclusives that launched with the PlayStation 4. Like, I'm not going to take your answers in the comments because Google exists and you can just Google it. But if you actually try to think of them off the top of your head, it'd be difficult. I know, because I Googled it. Because when I thought to ask that question, I was like, shit, I can't even name 5.
I
Like,
can name 2. That's Resogun and Kill. No, 3. Resogun, Resogun, Killzone Shadowfall,
yeah,
and Knack.
yeah. Like, Resogun was great.
Yeah, Resogun was good. It was really good, and Shadowfall was a good little first-person shooter.
Yeah. The game launched the console.
See, she pointed that.
I'm not getting into that. That's not the point. Like, you can't tell me that the PlayStation 4's initial success had anything to do with the games that came on it that you could only play on PlayStation 4. Knack just wasn't that fucking good. I'm sorry, it just wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't a good
like,
game. No.
It fucking pisses me off because it's like, it's not even like people can't see the forest for the trees. It's like people deny they're even in a forest because all they can see is trees. It's like, what's the reason to buy an Xbox Series X if it doesn't have Halo? Here's a thought. It's a next generation console. It's going to be the most powerful console in the world. And the last time I checked, other games are still coming out on it, and they're going to look better. They're going to run better at a higher resolution, at a higher frame rate. They're going to run faster because it's got an SSD, and it's a shiny new console. And we seem to have forgot, like, we as a whole big community of people who have disparate opinions. I'm not trying to paint with a completely broad brush because I know some people don't care about that, but we seem to have forgotten why people initially buy new consoles at launch. Because if we really sat and thought about it, it's a stupid idea to buy either of these consoles at launch because you're going to be paying the highest possible price for the lowest possible return on investment, like in the initial run. Because again, most of these games are not going to be very good. We're blessed in 2020 that a lot of good third parties are coming out, and they're going to take advantage of this new hardware. You want a reason why you should buy either of these next generation consoles? That's the fucking reason. Think about playing Cyberpunk on a console that could do 4K at 120 frames per second with a solid state hard drive built into it. That's cheaper than the equivalent PC. Boom, there's your fucking reason. Like, I don't care about that stuff, but there's plenty of people out there who do.
Yeah, that is the take out there that's very irritating to see. I've saw so many people on my Twitter go, well, one console doesn't have games, the other console's just selling you DLC and everything like that. One, Spider-Man Miles Morales isn't DLC, it's a fucking 12-hour game. You telling me you're going to complain about a 12-hour fucking game? Yeah. Seriously. Fuck off with that analogy. I'm literally just going to say fuck off right now.
I stand in support of that statement.
And then you're telling me, and like all the things I'm thinking, yes, okay, first, I understand your segment to it. Microsoft aren't selling you, haven't got any big first party games coming for the game, for when next Series X drops. Completely agree with you. You just run off, you just sounded off a few games there, Amy. Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed,
Call of Duty,
Watch Dogs, Call of Duty, the FIFA, the two of them, Call of Duty and the FIFAs sell crazy every fucking time, ladies and gentlemen. Shut up. Yes, you can play them on other consoles. I don't deny what you're saying there, but don't come out and say they don't have any games. Yes, they do. It's just your choice if you want to buy that console to play them on it. If you don't want to do that, that's your choice. But it's not because they don't have games, because they do have games. Shut up.
Yeah. Like, it's cool. Like, it's cool if you want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Cyberpunk 2077. Wow, those are the two most problematic games coming out in 2020, and those are the two examples. Fantastic. It's cool if you want to play those on your current generation console, because if I play either of those games, I'm going to probably play them on a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. But there are plenty of people out there who will want to buy a next generation console to play these games as in their best possible like form from a technical standpoint. Like we were playing Halo the other day, and you were having problems with the frame rate, and you can if you remember the exact conversation, because I can, you mentioned it, and I said, "Oh, it's been fine for me," and then you had to remind me, "But aren't you playing on a One X?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I am playing on a One X. That's probably why I've had no issues." Like it's that to the next level. Like, and you can't say people don't care about this, because I had to sit through 2013 to 2015 where all everybody was fucking arguing about was fucking frame rates and resolutions between PS4 and Xbox One. Like,
I
yeah,
remember that. I
remember?
remember that. The thing is, the looks weren't that much difference.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't that much of a difference, but it was enough of a
Yeah.
difference that PS4 was considered the better platform. And
Yeah.
like the Xbox One X, from a technical specification standpoint, like from looking at the tech specs, is the more powerful console. Like that might not matter as to which one you buy. Like, and I'm not saying like you should buy the Xbox One X, Series X, if you want the most powerful console. Buy whatever console you fucking want. That's not the point I'm trying to make. Like but people are going to buy these next gen consoles even if they didn't have any new fucking games from like exclusive games, because hey, it's going to run these awesome games that loads of people are going to buy, and it's going to run them better than they would otherwise.
This is the thing about it. I think a lot of people are literally still thinking, why don't they look better than they did from this last generations? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to be honest with you right now. The consoles have basically caught up to PC when it comes to graphics. You may be able to make them all visually a little bit more stunning and get them on higher settings and and all like that. But for the most part, the visuals are going to look pretty much the same as they are on PC.
Yeah, for the majority of PC gamers, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, you can buy a rig that's ridiculously expensive. Like, but for the majority of PC gamers, yeah, until Unreal 5 comes out, yeah, probably. Like,
yeah, that's the thing about it. And we won't see proper Unreal 5 games for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
I would say, until when we finally get to be able to play one of them. It's the quality of life improvements that both PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are promising you. Both are saying powerful as hell. Yes, Xbox more powerful. No doubt about it. Both are saying fast as hell. PlayStation are touting even more faster. They're both giving you reasons when it comes to quality of life improvements. Like Phil Spencer's already spoke about, because he has the Series X at home right now. He has it. He plays his games on it. He's even said himself he can't go back to the Xbox One X, because the Series X is just so like that for him, and that's what he wants. That's what we want. That's what the consumer wants. I've got parents now.
Yeah, it's like being on my internet connection, which is a fiber connection, fast enough to like for me to do streams and stuff. But then like before COVID, going around to Keith's house and using his internet, and he's on broadband, and it's going back to that speed that used to be like, fuck, this is really fast, and now I'm trying to do stuff on his computer, like, damn, this is really slow. Fuck, this is really annoying. Yeah. Like, I can imagine it's a similar jump to Xbox Series X. And again, like, if technical specifications and power and graphical fidelity and frame rates and speed, if none of that appeals to you, that's fine. But don't make a blanket statement saying there's no reason to buy these consoles, because I promise you, for a lot of people, there is.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten that fun topic out of the way, let's get on to the next one. This is going to be a lot of reading. We might not have a post-show. We've done a lot of talking. New allegations show the cycle of abuse and misconduct runs deep at Ubisoft. This is from Chris Kerr over at Gamersutra. And I've had to chop up this article, as Mooney knows. I was doing it right before the podcast started, because it was 5 pages on our document. And I've cut it down to 3, because there's a lot in here I want to get out. I don't know if there's going to be much of a discussion afterwards. I feel like we're just going to read this, because it's important to highlight this stuff and to not shut up about it, like a lot of big game sites have done.
Yeah, this is a thing that we don't need to talk about it. We just need to make sure that people, this is still happening. Ubisoft is still not a great company. Yes, they may throw out games that you really, really like, but the staff who have made those games have been
Yeah,
treated really badly, and
really
they need
badly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna
I
see
think
a lot of
what you're saying
examples.
is yeah. I think what you're saying is pretty spot on. That the article basically tells what we're gonna say.
Yeah,
So, but
I might
you
shout
go
for a
for it
couple of
anyway.
minutes afterwards, but we'll see if my voice is
That's true.
still held up. So I cut out the
Sure.
opening of the article because it was just a recap of things we've talked about over the past couple of months on the podcast, and dive right into here. As the outpouring of allegations continued, multiple anonymous sources told Gamasutra how Ubisoft is run like a mafia, where abusive family members are protected at the expense of their victims. One current staffer who asked to remain anonymous said the issue runs deeper and wider, and those public allegations indicated and suggested Ubisoft isn't committed to driving meaningful change, but rather creating a quote false culture of growth and transparency, end quote. I spent the past few weeks speaking at length with 7 former and current Quebec employees, all of whom have asked, that's Ubisoft Quebec, all of whom have asked to remain anonymous out of fear of reprisal, who explained the studio is, quote, hostile and, quote, plagued by toxic and abusive people, end quote. They told me how one of the biggest offenders at Quebec is Assassin's Creed Odyssey creative director Jonathan Dumont. According to multiple sources, Dumont is an abusive and controlling figure who in many ways embodies many of the that was weird. Many of the problems currently facing Ubisoft. They claim Dumont often uses his physical presence to intimidate people by slamming doors, punching walls, or throwing objects, and has verbally abused staff members, reducing some to tears, using offensive terms and homophobic slurs. He allegedly also targets women, telling them how to dress or when to smile. Oh, Murdy, I'm already getting angry. Dumont's behaviour was an open secret, according to our sources. People complained about his combustive style, and management never offered a concrete solution beyond forcing him to apologise or telling him not to interact with the writing staff directly. Dumont might have been the perpetrator, but Ubisoft management were complicit. Gods and Monsters quest director Hugo Giard allegedly shares the same pattern of behaviour as Dumont, a source said. He's depicted as an abusive figure by those who've worked with him, a bully who, according to one source, has torn people apart without reason, and someone who specifically targets women and new hires. Stéphane Mahet, an associate producer at Ubisoft Quebec, is also accused of being manipulative and verbally abusing colleagues. Multiple sources claim that they either witnessed his aggressive behaviour or experienced it firsthand. Quote, he's a bully that likes to insult people and push them to the edge, end quote, said one source, who added that Maher will accuse those who struggle with the pressures he puts on them of being not easy to work with. Another source tells me how Maher refuses to speak English to intentionally exclude people and will even insult his colleagues in French. Quote, outside of Dumont, I'd say Stéphane was probably the main reason why people left. He refused to speak in English to intentionally exclude people from conversations, and while speaking in French, assuming English speakers didn't understand, would insult the people in the room with us, end quote. Mark Alexis Court, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, an executive producer and former creative director at Quebec, is called out on a number of occasions for knowingly enabling that toxicity. While some sources claim Court, who's been a senior figure with Quebec for the better part of a decade, treated them well on a personal level, most agreed he knew of the abuse being dished out by senior colleagues and did nothing. Sources indicated this behaviour is representative of the broader culture at Ubisoft Quebec, describing a studio dominated by internal politics, bullying, and nepotism that actively rewards those who fit the Ubisoft alpha mold. That those in power regularly intimidate, harass, and grind down their colleagues is an open secret, and it's one Ubisoft refuses to address, they said. With the publisher allegedly intent on turning a blind eye, it's left to those in the trenches to address the glaring issue facing the company. But how can they when the system is rigged against them? Those who do push back are often shot down by their managers and HR, with one source claiming they were subjected to a personality test and chastised for not being a team player because they attempted to negotiate their salary. The problem facing Quebec aren't unique. Others with experience working at Ubisoft Singapore came forward with strikingly similar allegations. Sexism, racial insensitivity, harassment, and abuse are allegedly a regular occurrence within the Singapore office, where many of the perpetrators and enablers are people in power. One person claimed they began experiencing sexual harassment almost immediately upon joining Singapore, with co-workers telling them to show more career line, a phrase that suggests they should show more of their body. if they wanted a raise and making other comments about their appearance. Another spoke of a bro culture that permeates the office, which encouraged derogatory talk or behaviour towards some women, and explained that racist views were openly discussed in the studio during a normal working day. Oh god, it's this paragraph. Okay. This one blew me away. For instance, a huge, almost life-sized diagram depicting how slaves were transported to the Americas was allegedly a mainstay in the Singapore office despite staff members raising their objections. They were told it was a decorative piece that corresponded to the project at the time. It reportedly remained in place for at least a year. The culture of fear and oppression was once again propagated by those running the show, sources said. Ubisoft Singapore managing director Hugues Ricoeur was accused by multiple sources of sexual harassment. According to them, Ricoeur would regularly target women, making suggestive and inappropriate comments about their clothing during office hours or encouraging them to kiss him at work events. I'm told those involved in these incidents were visibly uncomfortable, but that Ricoeur's unprofessional, harmful behaviour persisted nonetheless. Those who questioned his actions claimed Ricoeur retaliated by using his influence to make their work life miserable, and while a formal harassment complaint was never filed against the managing director, HR were reportedly aware of the issue. Justin Farron, who was formerly creative director on Skull and Bones at Ubisoft Singapore but has now moved to Wargaming, was also called out for allegedly bragging on the studio floor that he only fucks Asian girls and never dates white girls. We're told his behaviour was reported to management after upsetting an employee who overheard those remarks, but that nothing was done. Another senior staffer, Jordan Woodstra, who worked as Ubisoft Singapore's marketing product manager before moving to the Discovery Channel in January 2020, was also allegedly a problem. Multiple sources claim that Woodstra inappropriately touched at least one woman employee, despite them firmly telling him no. He allegedly received multiple warnings from HR, which eventually resulted in him being moved to another building and the implementation of a new harassment reporting system. Woodstra, however, was allowed to keep his job until eventually departing of his own accord. Something of a trend for Ubisoft. Those I spoke with at Quebec, Montreal, and Singapore explained how HR management would often push the blame back onto the accusers, asking why they didn't do more to stop the situation. Quote, when I reported sexual harassment, I was told that my body language wasn't strong enough when I said don't touch me, or that maybe I need to stay away from those situations, one source recalled one source. We're almost there, Moody. When pressed on how this could happen under his watch during a recent investor Q&A, Yves Gilmour, who is the CEO of Ubisoft, whose corporate representatives have twice declined an interview with Gamasutra, insisted the company has always acted on allegations of abuse. Quote, each time we've been made aware of misconduct, we made tough decisions, he said. It's now become clear that certain individuals betrayed the trust I played in them and didn't adhere to Ubisoft's shared values, so I've never compromised on my core values and ethics, and I never will, end quote. One source, however, suggested that this isn't entirely accurate. A former Ubisoft senior leader told me that Gilmour and his direct team stopped them from ousting an abusive member of staff because they were, quote, talented and bringing more value to the company than causing collateral damage. When they explained to Ubisoft leadership that such a model was unsustainable, their comments were ignored. I'm also told that, as well as being protected by those in charge, said abusive member of staff was even rewarded with a substantial amount of company stock. While it's possible Gilmour didn't know the full extent of the allegations, it's a claim that suggests the long-serving CEO was on at least one occasion willing to place other workers in the firing line to protect Ubisoft talent. The fresh allegations against key employees within Quebec, Singapore, and Montreal also cast doubt on Gilmour's assertions that Ubisoft has made tough decisions each time it's been made aware of misconduct. Although it would be unfair to suggest Gilmour could have personally dealt with every instance of abuse within the company, the buck ultimately stops with him. There's so much more in that article. Go over to gamersutra.com, check it out. It's long, it's investigative, it's exactly what you want to see from video game journalism. It's horrifying. Like we have a much clearer picture of just how systemic and widespread this is now at Ubisoft. Which is that it's everywhere in the entire company, and I don't see how Yves Gilmour could say he never knew about any of this. with a straight face. Um, I think you might still be muted.
No, I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not.
okay. Sorry. I saw your lips move. I was like, did you say something?
Because you looked like you wanted to say more, that's all.
No, no, you go. I've just talked a lot more now.
Uh, the CEO, we all know he knew more. We know he does. He was asked 3 questions, and either one, if he answered, was going to put him in a bad place. We know this. And he avoided all 3 of them.
Yeah,
That just put him in a bad place.
He was given 3 possibilities by one of the investors during that call, and he just dodged all 3 of them because all 3 of them were bad.
Yeah.
Like,
All 3, whatever one answer he gave, he was going to put him in a bad light. And he avoided all 3 of them and made himself put him even more in a bad light. I'm going to be very fascinated to see when this next Ubisoft Forward is. That's going to be very fascinating to see if they do anything, to say anything, and if he's front and center saying the things, that'll be very key and very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone was going off like what you and me have read and what you've just read out to everyone who listens. We know anything he says, if he does say anything, is complete bullshit, and we know that. Everything he's saying, we've always done this, we've always done that, yibby yabba da, blah 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 blah. You've even actively tried to keep someone just because they were quote unquote good for business.
The wording of it is so much worse than that, where it's like they were talented and bringing more value to the company than they were causing collateral damage. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
If you got rid of that person when this was all happening, you may not be having the collateral damage that you are to the level you are now.
I was going to say, like, 1, people on collateral damage. 2, you would be facing this much damage right now if you'd bothered to, like, clean. It goes all the way back to one of the very first sentences. Because it's a family-run business, and it's mentioned as a quote from multiple anonymous sources that say it's run like a mafia, and it sounds like it's run by a mafia. Like, I'm not saying the mafia run Ubisoft. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think I'm going to rewatch the Ubisoft documentary that's about For Honor on Netflix. Oh, yeah, because the writer, the guy who came out, the guy with the walking stick, smiley as hell, the main writer, the lover who wanted to create this game. Yeah, he was. There are things that happen between them that things have to be pulled from the game because of all this and everything like that. And even though he says at the end, this is the game he wanted to come out, you know that that's not fully true, because there are things in the game that he wanted in the game that aren't in the game, and etc. etc. They might have been put in the game when they first released, but I think I'm going to have a look at that just to be very curious to see what happens. And like, there was a part of crunch culture there, because I think one of the directors or one of the main guys of the studio there had to take time off for personal reasons, for like mental health and everything, yeah, this is Ubisoft. As much as you do, I don't deny you do throw out some good games and fun games and everything. I'm looking forward to the next Assassin's Creed. I'm like being our personal friend at MC Fixer on Twitter. We've talked about going back to trying out Siege because we used to love that game, and the hard work, the developers, the people who have worked their asses off, not the corporate people, to make that game the game that it is today, deserve the love and support for that. And we've talked about going back to that. But corporately, you're rotten to the core, and you need to be completely taken out and just sorted out. You need a cure going into your veins and curing all the shit inside of you, because you've got a lot of shit right now. Yes, okay, fine. You're getting rid of some despicable people. Fine, well done, congratulations, kinda, because some of them got away with basically being a complete dick and should actually be set up for charges.
Like,
and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we've spent so much time talking about like Serge Haskell and Maxime Bellend. Sorry. Like,
I think
obviously, I did, yeah, Bellend. It was on purpose. And like, they're gone now, and they were the main focus of like the initial live. Obviously, there were a lot more people named, but I think they were the two names that kept cropping up in the initial wave of like allegations. And now, like, here's lots more names, and I don't recognize all of these names from trying to keep up with all of this stuff. And it's like, cool. Now, what are you gonna do about this? Because you read the names and specifically the titles of some of these people, and some of them still work at Ubisoft. Some of them are working on some games that aren't out yet. What are you gonna do about it? Everybody's watching you, Ubisoft, and you can try and do your Ubisoft forwards and pretend that none of this shit's happening, but it is. It's happening. And there are people like us and people with much bigger audiences who aren't going to shut up about it. Ever. Just wait until fucking Watch Dogs comes out. I'm gonna be all over it, that shit on this podcast. If you thought the Hyperscape thing I wrote last week for when Hyperscape came out was bad, just wait until Watch Dogs comes out. I will not be reading the store description of that game. Let's just put it that way. Fuck Ubisoft, personally. That's where my head's at right now. Like, not again, the company. Fuck the company, not the people who work in the company who have had to endure all of this bullshit just to make some video games. Fuck the people who did this stuff, and fuck the company. That's where I'm at.
Amen.
Amen. Next. I was chuckling at the next headline, not anything to do with Ubisoft. The US Army's return to Twitch is off to a bizarre start. This is from Nathan Grayson over at Kotaku. He writes, on Friday, after recently unbanning viewers who had asked about war crimes, among other things, the US Army is back on Twitch. Now a whole lot more people are asking about war crimes. The Army's return to Twitch after a month-long hiatus began with a different sort of stream than the channel's standard gaming-centric fare. After a brief intro about the purpose of the US Army esports team and a speech about how war crimes are, quote, heinous and are, quote, prosecuted as such, a member of the team, Chris Gorin Jones, sat in front of a camera, locked in a staring contest with Twitch chat. Chat was, by and large, a cascading waterfall of facts about various United States war crimes and criticisms of the Army's Twitch-based recruitment efforts, which Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and future President of the United States, recently tried to introduce a measure to forbid. Quote, do you feel good about using predatory tactics to trick kids into joining the military and throwing away their youth? Read one chat message. Number 2. Fun fact, the US military owns the Lockheed U-2, known for its ability to fly 70,000 feet off the ground and being one of the most caught spy planes for violating international laws ever. Read another one. Why can't you just play WoW now? What are you waiting for? People aren't going to stop dunking on you. Read a third. There are tons more as well in that thing I linked in our group chat. And yet, Jones persisted for an hour and 30 minutes before finally switching over to World of Warcraft. In some cases, he responded to softball questions about things like his favourite army installations, his time stationed in Germany, and army ranks. He also tried to laugh off jokes about his hair. In other cases, he attempted to correct viewers who were criticising the army, saying that the army can't recruit kids because people have to be at least 17 to enlist. 17 is still a child, said one person in chat. He went on to say that people should not enlist in the army because of video games. He also at one point accused messages recounting US war crimes of being automated because he doesn't understand how Twitch works. Some people in chat found this, and broader implication that chat was just trolling, insulting. Quote, am I a troll, or am I someone whose friends... Sorry, let me read that again. I don't want to butcher this quote. It's very important. Quote, am I a troll, or am I someone whose friend since 6 years old died on a hill which was abandoned the next day after writing letters to me about how useless what we're doing over there is, since we aren't building anything, only destroying? End quote. Someone asked. The Army's back on Twitch for some reason. They have an esports team for some reason. And they're playing World of Warcraft for some reason. We were speechless
Hopefully
the last time. Do you have anything this time?
No, I can't. This is Like I was speechless the first time, and I'm still speechless to this day. I'll just say this, and I think it's the simplest thing to say. Hopefully by November they will have the right president in, and hopefully him and his vice president will get this thing sorted and banned, and everything. Hopefully, and just
I mean,
I feel in some sort of way. And Eric, you want to throw backlash at me, anyone can do it. That's fine. I feel for the guy who's there,
sitting in the
but
chair.
yeah, he's just there to really just to do a thing, and not answer these questions and everything. But and a little bit to him saying that like he's in his mind he is trying to defend and do the things he feels is right and and everything. I understand his side there to a certain point of view, but this thing is something that. It's baffling to me that the US Army has a Twitch channel. So it just baffles me. It's bonkers.
And they're like, but they also like I get where you're coming from in feeling sympathy for Chris Jones, who is the member of the team who is doing the stream. Like, but
and if he, sorry for butting in quickly, if he like, if he was a dick in any sort of way, then that gets it on him and everything like that for it. But I'm sure, like, if I wouldn't have wanted to be that guy, I wouldn't have been wanting to be like this. I'm just going to go in, I'm going to play WoW and play it with some people and everything, and oh crap, I'm getting all of this. And sometimes, like, getting a lot of shit piled on you at once. You can say things where you may not have wanted to say it at the one time, but it just shit happens that type of way. But I don't want people to think I am condoning him there. So,
yeah.
But, go on. What you were saying.
What I was going to say is I can see feeling sympathy because it's a really awkward place to cut off. I can see feeling sympathy for him, but the army's conduct on Twitch, which we talked about, I believe last week, might have been the week before, is horrific. Like, in terms of the things that they've been doing and the things that they've been allowed to get away with on Twitch, and they shouldn't have an esports team. Like, they should be on Twitch. Like, they were putting up the fucking the fake giveaway for the Xbox controller, and when you clicked on it, it was the army recruitment page. And kids, while 17 is the age in which, you know, kids can enlist, because yes, 17. Whoever said 17 is still a kid? Yes, 17 is still a kid. Like 17 might be the age that you can enlist, but you can fill that form in when you're 13. So you try telling me that the army isn't trying to recruit kids, and I'll tell you where you can shove that statement.
You're not wrong there.
So like, I can see the anger, and Twitch did what Twitch does. Like the internet did what the internet does. The army got suspended from Twitch for banning some users asking about war crimes. Of course, they were going to get bombarded with users asking about war crimes when they came back. Because that's the internet. That's how it works.
Yeah.
The Streisand effect.
The thing is, it's baffling on Twitch as well. Like, you've just banned arguably your biggest Twitch streamer of all time, and we don't even know why that has happened yet. And it's none of our business. I'll just be frank. It's none of our business whatsoever why Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch whatsoever. I don't really give a flying hoot. No, but he was banned, and yet you've got this company, you've got this, who are doing all these despicable things, and you still have them on your thing. That they should be permanent banned, Twitch. And it baffles me why you even not done this. And I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, legit, what are you doing here? And I have to question that. The thing is that the only thing is you're only around. It's because you're the place to be when it comes to streaming. If you had any real true competitor, you'd be done. And you know you would be.
If you had any true competitor, Danger and Shroud would be there right now, instead of both coming back to Twitch. From Mixer. I sorry, just to go on a tangent about Ninja and Shroud, I love that moment because I saw so many people who, when they left Mixer, because Mixer went to Facebook Gaming, and everyone was like, where are they going to go? And I just went, Twitch. Obviously. Yeah. But then there was all these discussions about, oh, well, maybe they'll go here, or maybe they'll go there, or maybe they'll want to try to like build up YouTube gaming. It's like, they're going to Twitch. They went to Mixer because they got paid a fuck ton of money. And now they're going to go back to the platform, which brings them the most views and the most subscribers. It's not rocket science. And hey, they're both on Twitch. Fantastic. We definitely don't have time for the last two news stories, so I'm going to hold them. I'm going to freeze them, Moody, on the document. And if hopefully it's a slow news week, and we'll get to them next week. Because we've had a fucking one hell of a week. So let's move on to announcements. There were no reveals this week for the first time in recent memory. We got two release dates. The Walking Dead Onslaught is launching on September 29th on PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, and Steam VR. An Inscription from the developer of Pony Island and The Hex, which are two fantastic games. Play them if you have a PC. That's coming to PC in 2021. I think I only need to pause to discuss anything there apart from, like I say, Pony Island and The Hex. They're fantastic games. I can't wait for this. The trailer is so creepy and so cool. And I don't know what this game is, but I know what his previous games are, so I'm very excited. Daniel Mullins. I keep tweeting about how great his games are, and he keeps saying thanks, and I keep just being like, no, thank you, because, I fucking love your shit. Keep making stuff. There were 3 delays this week. Halo Infinite, delayed to 2021, we already talked about. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, also delayed to 2021. I think Keith ate a 2-litre tub of ice cream and cried in the shower when he heard about that. And Dirt 5 has been delayed.
I can still hear him now.
Yeah, I think it's that noise. Dirt 5 has been delayed to October 16th on PC and current gen consoles. Again, with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, I'm disappointed, but you know what? I've waited 15 years for this game. I can wait longer. It's fine.
You can wait 16 years. It's fine.
I think Keith was hoping I would flip my shit at the delay so he could argue that he would get a prediction point. But then obviously in the group chat I was perfectly fine because I'm always perfectly fine with news like this. It's like, oh, it's disappointing. I would have liked to have played the game sooner, but
yeah,
I continue to be hyped and anticipate the game in 2021. We've got another couple of free games as well. Actually, that's a good point. I didn't check what next week's Epic games are, so if you bear with me a minute. Quake 2 and Quake 3 Arena will be free to anyone who logs on to the Bethesda launcher for 72 hours from August 17th. So if you want a couple of absolute classic first-person shooters for free, log on to the Bethesda launcher from August 17th. Epic Games free games on August 20th. Enter the Gungeon and God's Trigger, sorry. Enter the Gungeon's a really good game. I don't know what God's Trigger is. I believe it's a brand new game because it says coming soon.
Did you get Troy though?
Of course I did. I read the news story on Eurogamer. 7.5 million people downloaded that.
Respect.
That's fucking insane. No game sold that well in 24 hours. 7.5 million people claimed Troy Total War for free. That's crazy.
You gotta think Epic probably ponied up quite a bit of money to cover that as well. So.
Oh yeah, I dread to think what that is in terms of how much is it?
That's gotta be what I'd say the $60.
That's a look. Epic Game Store. A Total War Saga. Try. $34.99.
$34.99. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
So $34.99 times 7.5 million.
34 times 7. That's 238. So they've probably pointed up about 200 million, if not more.
Wow. Holy fuck. That's a lot of money. We've got a content drop this week, everybody. I can't process that amount of sales and money in one day. Yeah, we got 2 things on the content drop. Number 1, as an article from WCCF Tech, from an ex-Visceral Games developer, rest in peace, not the developer, the company, who said Project Ragtag would have been the best Star Wars game ever made, and goes into a little bit of detail about the cancelled Amy Hennig Visceral Games Star Wars game. That, to be fair, seemed like it was shaping up to be really cool.
I've read a bit of this. I just love the quote of that he is just like, well, this looks like Uncharted, but Star Wars.
That's the point.
That's the point. You're getting Amy Hennig. Who the hell? What do you think they were going to make?
Were you meant? Sorry, were you meant to be hiring Neil Druckmann? Did you hire the wrong Naughty Dog person? Did you think you were getting The Last of Us, but Star Wars?
Oh, I wouldn't mind that either.
That would be cool too, actually. But
that would be awesome.
Amy Hennig's Star Wars Uncharted adventure would have been fucking amazing. The second item on the content drop is Designing Ghost of Tsushima, which is a no-clip podcast with Danny O'Dwyer and some Sucker Punch developers, talking about designing the open world and questing systems in Ghost of Tsushima. It's an interesting listen. It's about an hour long. You should give it a look. Both the links are in the description below. You can't miss them. You'll see a big thing where it's content drop links, and then there'll be links. I was, as I mentioned in the opening of this podcast, I was going to do a thing where I linked our videos for the past week, but we didn't do any. So I'll look out for that next week. Because fingers fucking crossed, Moody, this time next week, the Resident Evil 3 20 years later video will finally be finished. I have a script for it. It's 4,000 words long. And I remember, just in the nick of time, to download the gameplay footage from Twitch before the archives got deleted. Because I was like, oh shit, it's close. It's close to deletion. But I've got the gameplay footage. And there's only a couple of rants about...
Only a couple. Hashtag fail, Amy. Just fail.
No, you'll see. Like the first 1,000 words aren't about the game, like itself. They're about like the critical reception at the time, like the thing. I'll give you a little bit of insight into this because I'm really proud of this. I'm really proud of these videos because I do a lot of research for them. And one of the things that always bugged me, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video, was because when Remake 3 came out, there was a lot of... The narrative behind that game was it's disappointing. But a lot of people, and I say a lot, okay, there were people out there who argued that, but that's how it was between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 originally. And I didn't remember that, but it was also 20 years ago. So I went back and did some research on what the critical consensus around Resident Evil 3 was and what the reviews said. Moody, I read like 20 reviews of Resident Evil 3, and let me tell you, the results of that particular adventure will be in the video and will definitely surprise you.
Cool, I like being surprised.
There are games out this week, Moody.
There is.
Not too many, but enough. On August 18th, Mortal Shell comes to PC, PS4 and Xbox One. Mortal Shell is a deep action RPG that tests your sanity and resilience in a shattered world. Your adversaries spare no mercy, with survival demanding superior awareness, precision and instincts. Possess lost warriors, track down hidden sanctums of the devout, and face formidable foes. I've been playing this game, the embargo's up by the time this podcast goes up, so there should be a review for it on the channel, so I can actually freely talk about it. This is the most Dark Souls game I've ever played. Like, this might be Dark Soulsier than Dark Souls, somehow. And I kind of mean that in a good way, but also it's really tough to play sometimes. Like, do a bit and fight a bunch of enemies, and then literally you go around a corner and there's shitloads more, and there have been times where I've just put my PS4 into rest mode because I've been like, nah, not right now. I don't have that. Not today, Satan. But it's also really weird where it's like exploring the world. It's like an inverted Dark Souls. And what I mean by that is exploring the world is really tough and really challenging. But the bosses that I've fought so far have been quite easy. Like, I just beat the second boss that I found. Because I beat the first boss I beat is also an optional boss for sure. And then the second boss I did it first time. And even I was shocked that I managed
Okay.
it. And I was like, okay. But then I go back out into the world and the normal enemies, which beating the shit out of me. I was getting into the boss fights being like, this is doable. And then I get out and there'd be like two of these big fuckers with like big swords, and I'd be like, oh shit, this is hard.
Not doable. This is not doable. I take it back.
My teeth. Ugh. I just started running through certain areas to try and find things because I was like, fuck this shit. The enemies chase you for a long time in Mortal Shell, like a really long time. Sorry, I just wanted to go on a tangent because, like I said, I've played it. Also on August 18th, we got Microsoft Flight Simulator for PC. From light planes to wide-body jets, fly highly detailed and accurate aircraft in the next generation of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Test your piloting skills against the challenges of night flying, real-time atmospheric simulation, and live weather in a dynamic and living world. On August 20th, Battletoads comes to PC and Xbox One. Over-the-top combat with combos and hard-hitting morph attacks, wild, varied gameplay sequences for all types of gamers. Hand-drawn animation feels like playing a cartoon. Drop-in couch co-op for 3 players. Also on August 20th, that's a re-release. How did that get in there? Also on August 20th, we have Grief Helm for PC. Grief Helm is an award-winning tactical dueling game with lethal medieval weaponry. Skewer enemies, deflect blows, and push your advantage as you tactically overcome your foes in fast-paced duels. Prove yourself worthy of an eternal reward. Lastly, on August 21st, we've got PGA Tour 2K21 coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia. Play against the pros, play with your crew. In PGA Tour 2K21, you can play by the rules or create your own. Prove you've got what it takes to become FedEx Cup champion. FedEx Cup. Take on PGA Tour pros during your very own career, earning rewards and gear along the way. Play against Justin Thomas and 11 top pros on stunning real-life courses including TPC Sawgrass, East Lake Golf Club, and more. Always makes me laugh when trophies are like sponsored, but they're named after the sponsors. So it's like the FedEx Championship. That just sounds so stupid to me. Also, Everybody's Golf is objectively the best golf game ever made. Should we play OpenCritic head-to-head, Moody?
Go for it, why not?
This is the game myself and Moody like to play every week, where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever gets closest gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week we tried to guess the OpenCritic score of Total War Saga Troy, and I made a big deal about how I'd done a bunch of research and looked up past OpenCritic averages and didn't just make up a number right before the podcast started and wrote it on an empty can of Coke. And Moody, I'm going to stop doing that because it doesn't seem to be working for me.
You've only done it once.
No, I did it. Yeah, because I guess you couldn't really do research. But I did it for Fall Guys as well because I'd played it. And I'm just starting to wonder if research really isn't my thing because I've lost twice in a row now.
Yeah, I have a question here. I'm sure I was on 11 last week, so shouldn't that be 12?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't. If you can see, I haven't updated it. Yeah.
Just making sure.
No, it's fine. I would have counted them off anyway. I always check.
Yeah.
At some point. Don't worry. I would have updated it at some point. But yeah, Total War Saga Troy, I guessed it would get an 85. Moody guessed it would get an 84. It has, at the time of recording, an OpenCritic average of 76. I conceded defeat the second the reviews hit on that one. Because it was at like 79, and then it dropped to 78, and I was like, there's no way this is happening. It's not
Well,
going to get
the thing is,
to 85.
we both aimed high for it.
Oh yeah, like, based on past Total War games. Nah, fuck. That puts the current scores at Amy 15, Moody 12. I guess closest so far in 2020 on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, Half-Life Alyx, Resident Evil 3, Gears Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, Deep Rock Galactic, Mania, Xenoblade Chronicles, West of Dead, Ghost of Tsushima, and Other Side, and I guessed the score correctly for Carrion. Moody gets closest on Zombie Army 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, XCOM Chimera Squad, Command & Conquer Remastered, Iron Man VR, Deadly Premonition 2, Fall Guys, Total War Troy, and guessed the score correctly for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. There's been 2 draws, The Last of Us Part 2 and SpongeBob SquarePants. This week, we can't do Mortal Shell because I've played like 10 hours of it, and I feel like that would be unfair. So, we're going to do Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Well, I think that's the bigger release this week, so...
Yeah, but sometimes it pays to not do the biggest release. We skipped Fast and Furious Crossroads, and holy shit, neither of us would have been anywhere near that.
Was not going to be the biggest release after the beta for Fall Guys, and we both bloody know it.
Yeah, true, but it would have been funny as fuck. It's on a 43
yeah.
now, but you remember the
screenshot.
Me on that one. You remember the screenshot I showed you. Mike, I'm just double checking. Microsoft Flight Simulator at the time of recording does not have an OpenCritic average.
It won't have one until tomorrow, I would say.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check, just in case. So what's your guess, Boone? What do you think Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to get?
I've read a couple of the previews, and a lot of people are hyped on this.
So did I. It's why we ended up in a bidding war for it on Fantasy Game League, because we probably both read the same previews and went, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. And I'm also going off what my teacher said as well. And he's very excited, and like going off people who he knows who are in the industry and everything like that. He says the industry is actually very intrigued by this, just because it's all getting powered by the cloud and everything.
Well, because it's real time stuff. It's like actual weather patterns from the real world are being plugged into it. This game, which is fascinating.
So, yeah.
Remember 7 years ago when everyone used to make fun of Microsoft for talking about the cloud so much? And now it's just the thing.
It is, yeah, that's true. I think this is going to be in the 80s.
Okay. We're not gonna have the same number then. I can tell you that much for free.
Okay. You've now made me think.
Have I gone epically high? Or have I gone low?
Or have you gone epically low? Yeah.
Hold on. Before you say it, because I know I'm writing it down, because I don't have a notepad here anymore. I'm going to write it on this card.
You really need to get a notepad sorted.
I do. Well, they were just post-it notes. I can steal some post-it notes from it. I mean, I could buy some post-it notes.
That's true. I'm going right down the middle. 85.
85, eh? It's backwards on my video, so for people watching, it's 78.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. 70, yeah, so that's going to be intriguing.
I think that's the first time in a long time where we haven't been within like a couple of points of each other in our guesses.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this could be... I'm thinking... I think it's either going to be middle of the roads or somewhere in between the 80 and 85.
That's nothing.
So what against... you got 78? So
yeah, 78.
I needed to land on 72 at the max to at least tie this.
82, yeah.
Come on, Microsoft! Don't let me down. You're throwing out.
Yeah, there's no draw. We can't get a draw. If it gets 70, if it gets 81 or below, it's mine. If it gets 82 or above, it's yours. My guess of 78 is nothing against Flight Simulator, by the way. My guess of 78 is that people are going to play it and review it who don't get it. Because I almost fell into the trap of being like, I should make a video of Flight Simulator, like a review impressions video of the game. And then I realized that would be a terrible idea because I don't like Flight Simulator. And even though this one looks really pretty and has some interesting ideas and features behind it, it's still a Flight Simulator game. And that would be like me reviewing Forza Motorsport. There'd be no point because I don't like Forza Motorsport as a thing. Like, I don't like sim racing games at all. So
but that's the thing. They are 9 times out of 10, especially the good sim racers, they always rate high.
Yeah. because they get their
So
sim
that's what I'm
racing
going
guys
for.
to do it. And my thoughts behind it being lower than like sort of in the 80s or whatever is literally just I think a bunch of people are going to play this and be like, it's all right, I guess. And then the people who love Flight Simulator will be like, this is the fucking best thing ever. But
Yeah.
will they be reviewing the game?
That's the thing about
That's
it.
the
I think it's
question.
going to be, yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see what's what here.
We got an actual,
Um,
honest to God fight on our hands, Moody.
it's going to be intriguing, yeah.
All right.
Um,
You said you had a couple of things you wanted to talk about after the post show. I'm intrigued by the one you came up with like 5 minutes ago.
it's just because you reminded me of it, and that's Fast and Furious.
Oh God, I haven't played
There's a
it
lot
yet.
of obviously,
Just FYI, I haven't played it yet. I told
and
you the
neither have I,
story.
and I don't intend to either. So
I told you the story. I'll tell the podcast listening public the story. I have it. The disc. I showed Moody it. The disc. I put it in. It installed, and I was like, not today. I can't remember what I was doing, but whatever it was more important than playing Fast and Furious Crossroads. And at one point, and then I sat down to play it, and I hit the thing, and then it was like, this game needs a 28 gigabyte update, and I was like, nah, I'm not sitting here for that long. Like, yeah, I didn't even push OK on the update. I was just like, nah, fuck that shit. So whether I actually play it or not, it's a bit up in the air.
Yeah. My thing is, like, obviously this game's been reviewed badly, like crazy. Was it like 28 or something?
It was when the first reviews hit, because I went on OpenCritic, I was checking something else. I think I might have been trying to see if there were any Troy reviews yet, because not only was that the OpenCritic head-to-head game, but it was also in my team for my fantasy league. And the first thing that came up was Fast and Furious Crossroads had a 22, and I was like, I've never seen it go that low before. Holy shit, I screenshotted it and put it in the chat, just like, what the fuck is this? It's got a 22, and it's up to a 43 now. But
oh wow,
that's still,
I guess.
that's still, wow. Hang on, I need to check something here, because I think you can do this. All platforms, browse games, sort by score, all time. Can you go to like the last? Can you go straight to the last page? I don't think you can. I want to see if it's the worst reviewed game on OpenCritic. Right, you keep talking. This might take me a minute.
So basically, my thing is for this game is that obviously everyone knows this is the game that closed out the Video Game Awards last year.
This was
and
the
we
one
all
more
said,
thing. This was the one more thing at the Game Awards in 2019. Like,
yeah. And we all even said then, just thinking, really? This is the thing that's closing out the Video Game Awards? Now, we can understand if it was if it was the walls reversed, like this opened it maybe, and it was closed with the Xbox Series X reveal and everything, that would have been perfect and everything. But what I think is very intriguing is, like I said, this is the thing that closed it out. And now I respect Jeff Keighley like crazy. What he does for video games and to market them and celebrate them and everything is a fantastic thing. What he does, Jeff Keighley, I have to ask this question: what the hell were you actually thinking, and how much was the Video Game Awards or something paid to get this on here to close it out? Because you cannot be. You're a smart man, Jeff Keighley. We know you are. What were you thinking when you saw this? And come on, mate. I can appreciate how games are subjective. You know, other people are going to enjoy this, people aren't, and everything, yada yada, blah blah blah. But I'm just like, everybody basically didn't say good things about this game when they saw this. They can understand it being there, but not the thing that closes your award ceremony after the big awards have been put out. Come on, dude. I mean, know this.
There were some bigger games and reveals that came out during the Game Awards that closed out. Like,
that should have closed it out, really. And it's just baffling to me that I'm just thinking a game that's arguably probably one of the worst rated games this year was the closeout for the Video Games Awards last year. And I'm just like, what the hell, Jeff Keighley? Come on, mate.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We all complain. We all said multiple times saying, "Why are you putting celebrities on here? We don't need you." We all love Vin Diesel. We don't need him on here. We all love Michelle Rodriguez. We don't need her on here. We're not there to see them. We're not there and everything like that. We're there to see the developers and see the games and celebrate the games, not
Although,
see random celebrities going
to
up
your
there and
point on
everything.
that one, ironically enough, um, from what I've read and heard, the only fairly decent redeeming quality of Fast and Furious Crossroads is the voice cast.
Oh
Like,
wow! Congratulations.
that's actually like a thing that's supposedly like pretty good. I'm trying to find it. I've had to switch to Metacritic because OpenCritic is the worst. This game was reviewed worse than Umbrella Corps. I can tell you that much. Um,
Bloody hell!
it's not the worst review game of all time. I'm trying to
No, I
find
don't
it.
mean. But what about 2020? It's got to be there, isn't it?
I would imagine so. Like, I can
Yeah.
definitely check that. We've got the time. I'm just trying to find it on the list. I don't think it's on. It's got to be here somewhere. Um, there it is.
Just
Fast and
type in
Furious Crossroads. It's 17,383 on Metacritic. It has a Metacritic score of 37. Other games that have a Metacritic score of 37 include Frogger 2, Mike Tyson's Heavyweight Boxing for Xbox,
Oh,
Defender, the Game Boy Advance re-release.
bloody
What other games are there? Sniper Art of Victory, Torino 2006, the official video game of the XX Olympic winning games for Xbox. It did review better than Shaq Fu, A Legendary Born, though.
oh,
There are 177 pages, right? Like, if you just go on Metacritic and you go all games, and it's ordered from like best to worst. There are
Yeah.
177 pages. Fast and Furious Crossroads is on page 174. So it's pretty close to the bottom on Metacritic. The lowest reviewed game in history on Metacritic is Family Party 30 Great Games Obstacle Arcade for Wii U. It has a Metacritic average of 11. The highest review it got is 26.
Double digits.
Just above that, however, is a game I've actually heard of. The second worst reviewed game of all time, according to Metacritic, is Rise to Hell Retribution for PC, with a Metacritic average of 16.
Yeah, we've all heard of that game.
Yeah, it's got a Metascore of 16, the user score of 1.3. The highest score on here is again 26. The lowest score is 10.
So yeah, that's my big call out for that. I'm just like, what the hell, Jeff Keighley? What the hell?
Let me see if I can figure that out. Let me see if I can figure out your answer about 2020. It must be that must be easier to do. Games this year. The best review game on Metacritic is Persona 5 Royal, followed by The Last of Us Part 2, Half-Life Alyx, Pistol Whip, F1 2020. Those are your top 5. And the worst reviewed game of 2020? Fucking hell. I don't even think it's going to be close. Was Tiny Racer for Nintendo Switch with a 30. That's a 548. And then above that is Dawn of Fear for PS4 with a 33. Arc of Alchemist for Nintendo Switch with a 36. And then in fourth from the bottom is Fast and Furious Crossroads for PlayStation 4 with a 37. Just behind Elder Scrolls Blades with a 43.
Damn. But yeah, I just think that's
this is
funny.
fascinating. Like, just to look at this stuff, it's like, this is actually really weird, really cool. I might have to make this into a thing we do for some reason, because...
Oh god. No give her ammunition, people. That was not my aim. The last thing was the thing I tweeted in, dropped in our chat today. Last of Us Part 2, top 3 best-selling games, exclusive games for the PlayStation 4, I believe. Of this year.
Response, do you want me to say it again?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's the first thing. I think it's
didn't everybody boycott the game because it was ruined by the S-Jews?
Yeah, it was ruined and everything. So yeah, I just think thought this game was going to be boycotted. I mean, I won't lie. I thought this game wasn't
Thought it
going to
was
sell.
done.
I thought it wasn't going to do anything. And yeah,
It was
it's just
finished.
one of those
Angry
things.
Joe
Yeah.
told me it wasn't going to sell well because they ruined it with their social agenda.
He did say that. Yeah, he did say that that it was ruined by it and everything, and that the creators didn't understand the characters, and that the actors didn't understand the characters and everything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's like,
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. The people who created the characters and the people who play the characters understood the characters less than people who played The Last of Us. I was going to say part one, but it's not part one. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I played The Last of Us remastered on PS4 when it came out. Therefore, I understand Joel and Ellie better than anyone.
yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely.
In
I
case you
think it's
can't
brilliant.
tell,
I'm so happy.
yeah, we're being sarcastic. These people are fucking idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been dunked on by the tremendous sales of The Last of Us Part 2. And I could not be happier about that, because while it is a game that is difficult to play through, like for the emotions that it dredges up, it's also a really, really good video game.
For me, best game of 2020, so I'm good. Yeah, just congratulations to the Naughty Dog team. Yes, you still need to sort out your crunch culture, and hopefully you will get that sorted. Well, not hopefully, that you will get this sorted. But congratulations for your hard work and everything for throwing out a phenomenal game, and with the amazing success it's had. So I'm really happy, and screw all you haters out there for it, because
yeah. There's that popular meme that goes around, which is Garrick from Deep Space Nine doing the hands, and it just says "die mad about it" in colorful writing. So just imagine that I just put that in the podcast for all of you haters out there who suck, and anyone that says SJW non-ironically is just don't even talk to me, man. Like. I
tweeted out after I played the game. If your argument starts with SJW and agendas and all like this, I'm just like, you've lost the argument straight away, and I won't talk to you about this. If you have a legitimate reason why you didn't like the game, that the story just didn't personally click with you,
because
and if
you'll remember
the gameplay didn't work for you,
because you'd finished the game well before I did, and I was obviously trying to get through it so we could do a spoiler cast, which turned into the only video we did for the game. And you'll remember this. There were moments, because I was texting you as I was playing through it, like my thoughts, and there were moments where I was like, I don't know if I like this. Like, I don't know if I like this. And then obviously we did a spoiler cast by the end, and it was fine, and I liked it like a lot. But yeah, like if you don't like it, I gotta get it, because I could see moments where it could have gone one way or another, like for me personally, and I get it. It's fine. Like, not everyone has to like everything, and that goes for The Last of Us Part 2 as much as anything else. And yeah, it's cool. But if your arguments for not liking it boil down to like Abby, spoiler alert for The Last of Us Part 2, it boils down to Abby killing Joel, and Joel suddenly somehow being like the greatest, most relatable super dad in history of video games, or like SJWs, or the gay agenda, or the feminist agenda, or any of the other ridiculous arguments, just die mad about it. I got no time for that. If you come to me and say I didn't like The Last of Us Part 2 because of XYZ, like story, character, like relationships, gameplay, like cool, whatevs. We can have a conversation about that, and it'll probably be an enlightening conversation for both of us. But if you're mad about the other stuff, I don't really care. Like,
keep on walking.
Just keep.
We don't want to talk.
Just keep going. While we're on the subject of sales, and just before we close out the podcast, also Fall Guys sold 2 million on Steam, and that was 6 days.
Yeah. Fantastic. And even though they are getting bombarded like crazy when it comes to their server issues and everything, because they
dying, and it's like, I can't be mad about it, because there's no way this tiny little team from Mediatonic could have expected their game to be this big. It's legitimately up there with like Animal Crossing and The Last of Us Part 2 as one of the biggest game releases in 2020.
And the thing that I'll say right now, one of the things that helped this is probably that it was on PS Plus.
Oh, big style. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the betas as well probably helped.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But we didn't know about that it was on PS Plus until after the beta.
Yeah, like the betas will have got a lot of people interested, and the fact
Yeah.
that they gave people like me, like creators and streamers, 59 keys to give away to people, meant that they got a lot of people into the game. It is currently still the number one best-selling game on Steam and the number 3 best-selling game on Steam because the standard edition and the collector's edition are counted separately, and it is the 4th biggest game on Twitch right now. 3rd biggest game, 4th biggest category. It's behind Fortnite, League of Legends, and just chatting. There are 251,871 people currently watching Fall Guys on Twitch.
That's fantastic.
That is actually 70,000 viewers more than watching the next game behind it. Wow. Like, this isn't going away, Moody. This isn't flash in the pan. This is a big. Fall Guys is a big deal.
Yeah, I saw someone put this out. I think there's an article out there. I'm not sure. I might be wrong, but I saw someone put out Fall Guys is could Fall Guys be the next Rocket League? And I think it is. And Rocket League did the same thing. If you have PS Plus, you've got the game basically for free.
This might sound hyperbole, but considering how Fall Guys is still sticking at the top of the Twitch leaderboards and still sticking to the best sellers list on Steam, and presumably is one of the most downloaded games on PlayStation 4 right now. I'm gonna go one further. Could Fall Guys be the next Fortnite? It's mixing its shoulders with Fortnite, League of Legends, everything you would expect to see at the top of Twitch, and it's just there. Like, it's 4th right now, but I guarantee as soon as, like, I guarantee someone like Shroud or Ninja's playing Fortnite, and as soon as they log off, you know what I mean? Like, if I look tomorrow morning, it might be at the top. Like, could it be that big? Is what I'm saying, I guess.
That's long term. We won't know that for a while. It basically it all depends on what was the roadmap. What is the roadmap for this game for them? I won't lie. I bet they were probably thinking, we'll throw this game out. We're really happy and proud of it and everything like that. But we can probably take a little bit of a rest for at least a month and everything or something like that. No shit, the game's crashing. We gotta get we got everybody back in. We gotta get the servers back up.
They've already added a new level to the game.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I wonder if it's gonna be on the NPD. Like, I wonder if it's sold well enough, and if the sales are tracked. I wonder if it's gonna end up on the NPD. That would be cool. We'll find out.
It's gonna be fascinating. Yeah,
because it came out like beginning of August, didn't it?
Yeah.
So it won't be on the one we're going to read next week, which I actually haven't looked at. But if I had to guess, I'd say Ghost of Tsushima was at number 1.
Yeah, I think Last of Us is 2, 3, or 4.
And I'll see if I'm right in a week's time. That's going to do it for episode 219 of the Words About Gamescast. It's been a tough old show to go through. There's been a lot of news. We debunked some hot takes on Xbox. We talked about Ubisoft again. What else do we talk about? Oh yeah, Apple versus Epic. Yeah, that was a thing. That's going to be fun to follow for the next few.
The heavyweight match that everyone's waiting for: the Rocky Balboa versus Ivan Drago.
I'm going to go with Billionaire Slap Fight.
Billionaire Slap
Fight. At Imran ZOMG. Imran Khan. All credit to him for coming up with that. It's amazing. That's gonna do it. So I'll just say goodbye from me and goodbye from the distinct one, because he's a super genius who got a distinction. No, not for me.
Oh, okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.